Hello everybody, my name is D Sinks and I'm a commentator for the AVGL Smite League, and right now I am going to be going into how I think that things are going to shape out amongst the undefeated teams in the AVGL. We're only a couple games in and there's still a whole bunch of teams without a one next to a loss column, and right now I'm going to go into who I think has the upper hand. Starting with, in the Ragnarok division, the Norse squads, where you have Southwestern College and Ohio State University sitting at undefeated marks. So for Southwestern College, this is their lineup right here. And it's pretty obvious that a lot of these names aren't going to be names that you're familiar with. If you're familiar with the your traditional lower end of Smite, the Challenger Circuit, formerly Challengers Cup, even the FACEIT Combine, you're not going to recognize a lot of these names. In fact, I don't personally recognize any of them. Meanwhile, over for the side of the Ohio State University, Ampain, Sheikah, Ghost Ninja, Sidewinder, and Precap. For Ampain, I recognize him and Ghost Ninja, along with Sidewinder, from last year of the AVGL, where they all performed individually fairly well. Sidewinder had some struggles, but this season looks a lot better from what little we've seen of him so far. Ghost Ninja also has had some issues in the past, but is a very solid player. But really the player I'm looking at here is Sheikah in that mid lane. Sheikah is the mid laner for Astral Authority, Challenger Circuit team, who will be facing relegations, but if my predictions hold true, Sheikah should be fine. I do not imagine Astral getting relegated, but crazier things have happened. So that is my personal prediction. I think that in terms of the Norse division, the advantage definitely has to go in favor of Ohio State University here. And now, moving on from there, you have the Egyptian division, where there's two teams that, once again, undefeated. You have Bowling Green State and Stony Brook. And Stony Brook I'm going to be referring to as Way 3, and I'll get into that a little bit later. For Bowling Green, you have Vestar, Dezurik, Tyler Tramp, Dorf Wood, King Med. These five players here, Dezurik's the one I recognize. He was formerly on Shadow Juice last season for the AVGL. This is not a bad lineup by any means. Obviously, they're undefeated. This is a pretty good AVGL team. The problem is that this is their competition. This is, as I will say, Way 3. This is the remnants of the Way squad coming together with More Brooklyn, Utah, Sir Bomberman, Sam for Soccer, Lil Sammy, and Giggle. Or I might be Mandalorian in the starting position. It's not super clear to me, but either way, this is an incredibly strong lineup of players that have to be your heavy land favorites just going into this season, and I do not think that Bowling Green is going to be able to stand a chance going in against them. Now from there, let's move on to the Gaelic division, where you have one team that's undefeated, Salisbury, and this is Nodes 2.0. Collateral, Fatal, Blaziken, Dean, and Dan have all joined together to go ahead and try and get back to land, but this time with hopefully different results. And I don't see anything standing in their way. This team is very, very strong. This is one of my heavy land favorites going into this season, them along with Way. So, we will see how it plays out, but right now my advantage easily goes in favor of Salisbury. And I do not foresee them taking any spills amongst this division. Now we go into a division with a couple more undefeateds with a little bit more interesting storylines here. We have the Mayan division, where you have Sunny's Buffalo, which consists of Puny Army, Matt MR, I Make Cold Fire, Palladium, Coolest Luis, George 96. I don't know these players personally, but they're undefeated, so they've been able to really hold their own so far within their division. Up next, you have Player 1068, Osiris 43, Darkath, Shark, D-Dun. Not going into all of their numbers. Once again, not an unknown team, but they still seem pretty decent. But then you have St. Joseph's University, and this is where Mojo Cat went. He was the other part of that land team for Nodes, and he went over to this team along with Zetasphere, Exterminator, Typical Java, and Booty Call Jones. Your boy Jimothy is also listed on this team as a sub, and I really like your boy Jimothy because he's fun to cast. But for this team, this is definitely a downgrade, I think, for Mojo Cat from the Nodes that he was on last season. I think he's going to have a much tougher time getting towards that land qualification point. But at the same time, I also think that this team is so much stronger than the previous two teams listed, so my advantage is definitely going in favor of St. Joseph's University. Now, moving on to the Yomi division, you have two teams sitting out undefeated here. You have, and this division is going to be a lot more fun, I think, moving down the line. You have George Mason University with F. Diddy, Just My Luck, Zidru, Starkey, iTree, and CM Havoc. And then you have the side of Penn State with Lermy Wormy, Minus, Keeper of the Rice, Totable, Amplify, and Penumbra. I believe Amplify is the sub for this team. Penumbra is starting roster, I do know that much. So these are two teams with some players that I do recognize. You got F-Diddy, Zidru on one end, you've got Lermy Wormy, Minus, and Penumbra is really the big name that stands out here. Formerly a Console League Pro back a while ago, Season 1, but as of right now, excuse me, as of right now, I think that my slight edge has to go in favor of Penn State here. But this will be a division that should be very, very interesting to watch as it plays out. These are two very evenly matched teams in my eyes, and I cannot wait to see who is able to take that advantage as we move along. Also, just a brief note, this team right here, North Carolina State University, they have suffered a loss, but you have Fish Taco Bell, Joey Blunts, H2O Melon, Reach Zero, Vendusha's Bay. These are teams that we know from last season, and them having one loss, I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to take a game off of those undefeated teams moving on down the line, and maybe even sneak their way back into that playoff contention. Just something to kind of keep an eye out for. As I actually completely ruined my standings here because I decided to click on them instead of opening them up in a new tab. Hindu. Let's go over to the Hindu division, where you have two teams that are undefeated as of right now. Did I skip something? I might have skipped something, actually. Oh, wait. Sorry. I did also forget to mention, this team is undefeated. They're 1-0. I'm not sure what's going on here, but yeah, I don't think that they're in that contention for the other one. Now let's move on to the Hindu division. The first team is a team that was a lot of fun last year. You have Georgia Tech Yellow, captained by CJM, with Mongol Hunter, Loomside, Pengi, and Roundish T. Last season, this team had some struggles. Their mid, jungle, and solo all did perform well, but Loomside had a small god pool that could be easily banned out. CJM and Sidewinder were in that dual lane, and it was very, very difficult for that dual lane to get much of anything going ever. But this time around, they have made some swaps. Unfortunately, CJM is still on the team, and I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I think he could be a solid role player, but Georgia Tech Yellow, they're going to have a very, very rough road because this is their opponent. Ignore Boop. Cardiac, Puckham, Data Remember, Dingo Dial, and Fino K. Tarrant Community College. This is basically the merging of two teams. Puckham's from last season, Puckham's team and the Pete's. I don't remember Puckham's team's TCC Forever Gold. That's what it was. And it was the strongest players from all those. So this team has to be by and far everybody's favorite to go to land and win it. And I am okay with that. Honestly, I think it's just the reasonable thing to think about. So this team, yeah, once again, I think that this team has a very strong chance to go to land. And I love Georgia Tech Yellow because last season there was a lot of players I didn't know putting up impressive performances, but these are a lot of players that I do know, and I know that they can put up impressive performances. So it's going to be rough for Georgia Tech Yellow if they want to do it. Not impossible, but very, very difficult. Now moving on, we have a three-way tie going in at the top here for the Olympus division. You have UC Riverdale, University of Tennessee Orange, and Georgia Tech White. So starting off with UC Riverdale, you got some names that are very, very familiar. You have Man Ray, Lado, Link, Of the Worst, prime example, Yamirza Calculus. So Of, Link, Lado, Man Ray, those are all players that that everybody should know. Yamirza, being the captain, will fill out your starting roster, but this is a team with a lot of players that have been a lot of fun to watch all throughout the past, and this squad, I think, is very, very strong and could definitely get into that playoff berth fairly easily. University of Tennessee Orange, you have Wolp, Pepe Smite, Rom, August, Earth, Robodev. This team is, Pepe Smite is on their team, so that right there should tell you a lot that you need to know. No, this team is it's got a lot of fun personalities on it, and they're still all very, very good players, and it is completely reasonable to believe that they will be having a strong berth at that top. And then for the last squad, Maker of Rice, Roygar, TNT Turtles, King Liam Exploit, Fahrenheit, Amtoni, Georgia Tech White. I don't foresee this team being able to contend with the other two teams, but never know, they could surprise me. My advantage is personally going over to the side of UC Riversdale. or Riverside, sorry, because Man Ray is one of my favorite players to watch, and it has a lot of very good mechanical players on that team other than Man Ray. So we will see them moving forward. And then finally, to our last division with 4 teams that are undefeated, you have the Romans, which have University of California, Santa Cruz, California State University, Los Angeles, University of Advancing Technology, and Regis University. So starting with University of California, Santa Cruz, you have Lyris, Spirit, Civ 3, Prowo, Amarcus, Luis, and Kapivsky. That was a bit of a difficult name for me to say. This team, not a lot of players that I recognize on this team, honestly, and but they've been able to pull out wins against a couple DQs as well, but I do think that this team will have a good time moving forward. Now moving over to California State University. Once again, I don't really recognize these players. You have Savage, Mkus, Sam Hill, Unforgiven, Slendermans, Blackachop. These are players that, once again, could surprise me, could definitely come out and surprise me. Then you have Ozzy Osbourne, Always Gunna's Game, Lord Louise, Paladins, Templar, Missions. Once again, we're back to players that I don't really recognize, which is a common theme in this division, and finishing off players that I don't really recognize. So it's harder for me to make a comment on this team, but simply because it looks as though this is going to be, so far it's a fairly evenly spread out division. This will be a lot of fun moving forward to watch. And then once you want to break it down to conferences, you have in the Ragnarok division here. I mean, I think at Ragnarok, your top emerging teams will be Ohio State and Stony Brook. My edge is going to go the way of Stony Brook personally, but I think that's going to come very, very close and right down to the wire. Over in the Gallic, I think that Collateral Team, Nodes 2.0, Salisbury, they have got it on the lock, in my personal opinion. Unfortunately for Mojo Cat, he will have to try and contend with his former team, and as much as I want to believe in Mojo Cat, I do not think that it is going to be an easy road, and I do think that he's going to fall. Over in Yomi here, Georgia Tech Yellow, I mean, they're losing to Puckham's team. Everybody's losing to Puckham's team. Tarrant County College, sorry, I can't read. Which it hurts when you're trying to make these videos. I think that is going to be your top emerger from there. And then over in Olympus, I think personally that Olympus is going to be more fun. I think Olympus has definitely the most ways that this division could go. UC Riverdale gets Riverside. I don't know why I keep wanting to call it Riverdale. That's what's going to get my personal nod for an advantage, but it could really go any way. And your top 2 LAN teams will depend on how brackets get made. We, even at AVGL behind the scenes, we cannot say anything. We don't know anything yet, so we will see moving forward. However, that is going to currently do it for me. Tune in to the AVGL on Thursdays and Saturdays for some fun Smite action. I will be taking the desk on Thursday, so please do stop by and enjoy. But however, I will see all of you the next time. Bye!